DreAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unified philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is DreBaldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is why social media has become real life. I did an episode several years ago where I talked about how social media, I talked about the social media real life connection, I guess, for lack of a better term. I talked about social media a lot, actually, over the years. And one very important episode was 1690, Dirty Secrets Social Media Platforms Don't Want You to Know, where I explained to you how this stuff actually works. Episode 490, I told you don't be fooled by the actors on social media. And I talked about, of course, mentioned social media many times where it wasn't the main topic of the show. But I talked about how real life and social media have pretty much swapped places for a lot of people. And today what I'm going to do is explain to you how social media has completely become real life for many people. Even if it's not the case for you personally, you should still understand it, because what it's going to help you do is it will help you understand where people are coming from and why when you see people who are looking at social media as if it is real life, even though for you, again, as I said, it may not be. Well, you know why it is for them, then it'll help you understand why people move about the way that they do, and why people think the way they think or talk the way that they talk. I will explain. Let's get into it. Point number one. Today's topic, once again, is why social media has become real life. Number one, smartphones have replaced real life human engagement at a mass level. Smartphones have replaced real life human engagement at a mass level. There are a bunch of people out there over the age of 60. If you're over the age of 60, you tell me if this has happened to you. Your grandchildren, or people young enough to be your grandchildren, have sent you a Facebook status update or a private message to tell you happy birthday. How many of you over 60 have had that happen to you? There are people out there, on top of this, I'm out of talking to people over 60, I'm talking to everybody now. People will not believe something happened in your life if you never posted it on social media. If you say you have kids, people will go to your social media and say, well, I don't see any of your kids on your social media, so do you really have kids? You say you got a boyfriend or girlfriend, they say, well, I don't see any boys or girls on your social media, so do you actually have boys or girls? Or do you actually have a boy or a girl? All right, people literally look at social media as if it is the official record of what is happening in another person's life. And if it's not on the internet, then it must not be happening, or it never happened, or it must not be true. There are people out there who have this mentality. If you do not believe, or someone may not believe that you have these things, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, kids, etc., business, etc., unless it is verified on your Facebook feed or it's in a significant number of photographs that they can find online. This is not to say that you must conform to this way of thinking. As a matter of fact, you probably should not, and you probably want to keep most of your private, personal business off the internet. That's just my personal suggestion to all of you who are listening to this. I'm letting you know there are a lot of people who think this way. There are a lot of people who look at things this way. They don't see it on the internet. It pretty much doesn't exist. And you should know that these people are out there, because there are a bunch of what we call AI accounts, or some people call them bot accounts. AI is technically a bot. These bot accounts that are run by people who you don't even know who they are, but they get a lot of engagement and they have a lot of followers and fans. And these accounts are run completely anonymously and designed to say things that the human behind the account doesn't want to put their name, image, or likeness on, but they do want to say it. So they create a bot account or a fake account, and they take all the things that they want to say, but they don't want to put their own name next to it, and they say it through this anonymous account. This is what social media is. A lot of replies that I get on social media are from Anon. We call them Anon, which stands for anonymous accounts, where you don't see a real face, you don't see a real name. You go to the profile, there's no name there, and it's a picture of Mickey Mouse. So you never know who is actually saying it. You don't know if it's a man or a woman. You don't know if they're black or white. You have no idea who this person is. And then they'll just talk shit. They'll just say all the things that whoever's running the account probably really wants to say, but they're not actually saying it themselves because they don't want to be held accountable for it, so they can hide behind this. This is a big thing on social media these days. And some of these accounts are actual humans running it, and some of them are run by algorithms and run by bots. Because these days you can have bots produce replies on social media. It doesn't even actually have to be a human doing it. So this is the direction that we're headed. Moving on to point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is why social media has become real life. Number 2. More people are evaluating, judging, and making conclusions about others based on what they see or that they can find on social media without considering any other factors. In other words, people are deciding who you are, what you're about, and how they should feel about you just based on what they can see on social media, regardless of what they see on social media or if they see anything on social media. And this is happening more than ever before, is that people are looking at social media as the first and last stop when it comes to evaluating another person or finding out whatever they can find out about another person. And the internet is making it easier and easier to get information that you might be looking for based on just doing a search. And you never had to actually do any thinking. If you apply for a job, what's one of the first things that a company, the hiring staff, or the filtering system is going to do? They're going to look you up on social media. Any of you who's part of the hiring, any of you who does hiring for a company, isn't this one of the first things you do when someone applies? You probably don't even have to do it manually. You probably got a system that does it for you. It just takes the name, it looks that person up on social media. Maybe you reverse engineer and reverse look up through their email address and find out all the social media accounts this person has. Maybe you even ask for them on the application and you start looking through it and saying, all right, is there anything in here that's going to eliminate this person off the top? Is that the way it works? Any of you works in hiring managers, small business owners, do you do this? When someone applies for a job, just look you up on the internet, find out who you are, see how you present yourself, see what you've been talking about, and then if that system or the person finds something that you posted that is the wrong thing, or something that you agreed with, or something that you alluded to is the wrong thing, well, what happens? Well, you might not get to the next round of the vetting process. You're out of the job hunt, at least for that company, just like that. Same thing happens with dating. I heard a guy say this the other day. I'm not going to say who it was. I do know his name, but there was a guy, I will say he's a black guy. And he said at one point he was looking for a wife. He wanted a woman he could marry. And he found this woman who presented herself really well. And the way he was describing it, he met her in person. She presented herself really well. She was very physically attractive. And when he talked to her, everything was looking good, sounding good. He was very interested and he wanted to take the next steps. So one of the things that he did was he looked this woman up on social media, and when he saw the way she was presenting herself on social media, it completely soured him on this woman, and he ended up not going with her. He ended up finding a different woman who actually did become his wife. What I'm saying is, when people find out who you are, the first thing they do is look you up online. This is what happens. People don't look into who you are as a person. They don't go find out who your friends are, like your actual friends. They don't find out where you hang out and the things that you actually do in your real life every day. The first thing people do is look at you on the internet and find everything they can find out about you on the internet, or if anything, and they judge you based off that. And often for a lot of people, that's all they need. Whatever they found on the internet is enough. Now, let me be clear. Sometimes there are some things on the internet that are enough. For example, if I'm the hiring manager at some company, at some corporate company, and I see somebody talking really recklessly online, I know I can't hire this person because that is going to make me look bad for even bringing this person through the interview process. So there are some things on the internet that do matter. I'm not saying things on the internet don't matter, but a lot of people default to the internet without even considering any other possible avenues, let's say, to find out about another person. All right. And I'm saying that not even necessarily as it being a bad thing. What I'm saying is this is just the way that some people think these days, is that that's all they need and they don't consider anything else. That I would consider a bad idea for any of you who's doing it. But there are some people out there who are already of this thought process. So again, same thing if anybody you heard just 5 minutes ago. You heard their name 5 minutes ago. First thing you do is look them up on your phone. Social media is the first line of defense when it comes to finding out who somebody is, what they're about, and deciding what you're supposed to think about them. Social media has basically become the new Google. So instead of Googling the person, you just look them up on whatever app you use all the time. Look me up on TikTok, look me up on Instagram. And why? Because it's convenient. It's convenient, it's easy, it's very accessible. I remember being in the elevator in a building that I used to live in. I had one of my books with me in my hand. I think I had a couple copies of it. So people saw it and they asked, "Oh, are you an author?" I said, "Yeah, I'm an author." And they said, "Was your book on Amazon?" They're pulling out their phone while they're asking me the question. "Is your book on Amazon?" I give them the name, my name, and they go look me up on Amazon. Why? Because it's convenient. It's easy to access. And this is the reason why social media is becoming real life, because it's becoming easier and easier for you to do what some consider to be quote unquote everything through a social media account. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is why social media has become real life. Number 3. Do you remember the concept of catfishing? Remember this whole concept, catfishing? It was very popular about 15 years ago. It was a popular thing, this whole concept. And catfishing, for those who don't know, is based around this idea of someone creating and maintaining a fake online identity that is supposed to be a real person, but is not actually a real person. And then they build what feels like a real relationship with someone who is fooled and thinking that they're talking to a real person that exists, but they're not actually talking to a real person that exists. And it becomes this relationship that's happened online, and we don't even know if you don't even know if you're talking to an actual human. Only the actual human person on the other end is the only real human in the whole situation, and they don't know that they're being tricked the entire time and thinking that they're talking to a person who doesn't actually exist. Now, are they engaging with a person? There's a person on the other end, the catfish side of it, but that is not the person that they're presenting themselves to be. So there was this funny story of this football player named Manti Te'o many years ago. He played for Notre Dame in college. He was a very good college football player. He got catfished, very, very publicly catfished, to where he had a quote unquote relationship with a quote unquote girlfriend that was not even a real person. And the whole time he's saying he's in a relationship with this girl. He had talked to this girl so much that he felt like he was in a relationship with her, had even had voice conversations where someone is faking what he considered to be the voice of this girl. And he's like, this is my girlfriend and this, that, and the third. And I think he had made it Facebook official, as they say, to where it was on the internet. He was saying this is his girlfriend. And whoever was behind this entire catfishing scheme, they knew it. And then eventually at one point, they basically outed it and tried to embarrass him, made him like a complete fool for having fallen for this catfish scam. He did look like a fool for falling for it because, I mean, how are you going to call somebody your girlfriend? You never even met him in person. Doesn't even make any sense. And this is when he was still in college. And that was a very popular catfish, probably one of the most famous catfishings. Then there was also a movie. I think the movie was called Catfish, but I don't remember. Where it was some guy who he thought he was in a relationship with a girl, similar situation, but he wasn't some football player. He's just some guy. Thought he was in a relationship with a girl, and he's having conversations with her and all this. And finally, he goes to actually meet the girl and finds out that it's some older woman who is not the girl, who had been pretending to be the girl the entire time. And when he finally realizes what's happening, he confronts her and she comes clean and says, yeah, I'm sorry, I was doing it, et cetera, et cetera. And this is a big thing that was happening a lot about 15 years ago. And again, it was based on the idea of people feeling like they had a real relationship with someone who wasn't actually a person. And that person, again, being run by somebody who's not that person, either playing out a fantasy or playing out some long-form practical joke, as I just explained. These days, not only has catfish expanded, we got to give it a new name because that still happens. People are still doing that these days, but it's expanded, so we can't call it catfishing anymore. We got to give it a different name of a different type of fish. Let's call it sharking. Okay, so instead of catfish, now it's a shark. But what's happening now is that people who are being catfished are happy to engage. They're not actually being catfished because the essence of catfishing is that you're being lied to and deceived into thinking you're talking to one person when you're actually talking to someone else. But if you know you're being deceived and or it's not even being deceived, if you know you're talking to someone who's not a real person, but you're happy to do so, then that's not deception. That's just what you want to do. People who are being quote unquote catfished are happy. They like this. It's not a trick. It's an accepted reality. And this is the accepted arrangement that some people want. And again, I don't even know what this means yet, but we do know that is real. For example, I recently saw a clip of Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook/Meta fame explaining that his company is right now working on creating AI friends that can serve as connections and provide relationship support to humans who otherwise don't have friends in real life. So people are getting with AI friends these days, and those AI friends are going to replace the actual human friends that these people do not have. Do I believe there is a market for this? The answer is hell yes, there's a market for this. I understand why Mark Zuckerberg would want to do it. Mark Zuckerberg is going to get plenty of blowback for doing this, but he seems like a pretty smart guy. He'll come up with the right language with which to defend it. I don't care how he defends it. You still need to know people in real life. I'll talk to you all about this ad nauseum, why you need relationships in real life, because relationships are a way that you can get things done in life that you could not get done through skill alone, no matter how skilled you happen to be or how hardworking you happen to be. But there are people who will go for the AI friends because, again, it's convenient. It's easy. It's no friction. You're not going to get rejected by an AI friend, but you will get rejected by a real person. So this is not fooling the human as to what it is. Again, these are people who said they're in on this. They want to be in on this, knowing that they're not talking to an actual person, and they're okay with it. I mean, any of us who is willing to talk to AI, I mean, we are somewhat complicit in all of this. Doesn't mean you got to go out and have a whole legion of AI friends. I don't think I would go that route. That would, I don't know how that would feel. It might feel depressing to me if I was to do that. But I think there are people who are going to buy into it as soon as Facebook makes it available. I guarantee people are going to buy into this. All that said, let's recap today's class, which is why social media has become real life. Number one, smartphones have replaced real life human engagement at a mass level. Everybody has a phone, and a lot of people will pull out their phone as soon as they don't have anything else to do. The phone is the default place that people go these days. Number two, more people are evaluating, judging, and making conclusions about others based on what they see or can find on social media without considering any other factor. You need to think about what that means and whatever you have on social media might be saying about you. Number three, remember the concept of catfishing. About 15 years ago, it was pretty popular when someone would be fooled into thinking they're in some type of relationship or has some type of connection with a person that's not actually a person. It's a fake person. These days, people are still catfishing, but the people who would have been the victims 15 years ago are actually now complicit, and they're happy with these situations where they're dealing with someone who's not a real someone. I guess because it's easier to deal with a fake someone who's always going to accept you than a real someone who might at one point either reject you up front or turn on you. So I understand the market for this. I wouldn't want to be in that market, but I understand that there is a market. All that said, everybody, workonyourgameuniversity.com, our new Circle, The Circle group membership, $97 a month. Easiest way for you to get entry into Work on Your Game University and to have me as your direct coach. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com to learn more about how it works. Work on your game. Dre all